Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Gerald Proselendis, and I am the President and CEO of Quaterra Resources. We are a copper-gold exploration company focused on projects with the potential to host large-scale deposits. We're advancing our Yerington Copper Project in the historic Copper District of Nevada, and we're exploring Groundhog, a copper-gold porphyry prospect in Alaska, directly north of Pebble. I'm going to talk about both of these projects. I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that this presentation contains forward-looking statements that reflect the expectations of management. If risks or uncertainties materialize, or if an assumption proves incorrect, actual results could materially differ from these forward-looking statements. I refer you to the company's filings available on SEDAR and EDGAR, which describe more fully the risks and uncertainties. What you need to know about us corporately is that we are what I would call a nano-cap company with a market cap of around $13 million, a recent share price of 6 cents, 218 million shares outstanding, and $1 million in cash. I'd also like to tell you about who we are. Tom Patton is the chairman of the company. Tom has headed up exploration divisions for Kennecott and Rio Tinto and led teams that have made some of the major discoveries of the last 50 years, including the Peñasquito gold mine in Mexico and the Diavik diamond mine in the Northwest Territories, Canada. Our senior consulting geologist, Rich Lavelle, ran global exploration for Freeport-McMoRan until 2017. He is credited with discoveries on several continents. Our partner in Alaska, Chuchunya Minerals Company, is headed by Ventura Samaniego, president of Kijik Village Corporation, which represents the local community of Non-Dalton. Our Alaska project is under the technical direction of Rob Rutherford, president of Alaska Earth Sciences, which discovered the Johnson and Donlin Creek gold deposits. We have our resident geophysicist, Joe Inman, who is credited with identifying the A154 kimberlite pipe, which led to the development of the Diavik diamond mine in the Northwest Territories. And he was the key geophysicist involved in the discovery of Peñasquito. First, let me talk about Quaterra's exploration in Nevada. We are working in the Yerington District, which is a large historic copper camp in a mining-friendly jurisdiction 70 miles southeast of Reno. On the map there, you can see us in blue. We have a 51 square mile land package, which includes on it the Macarthur acid leach deposit, the Yerington pit with sulfides and oxide potential for expansion. There are 43-101 resource calculations on both Macarthur and Yerington. There's also the Bear Porphyry system, which is underexplored, several exploration targets, and existing water rights permitted for mining with excellent infrastructure. Three publicly traded companies are consolidating their position on this mining-friendly copper camp. We have Hudbay, which recently acquired Mason Resources to the west of us. Contains the Ann Mason porphyry deposit. Hudbay has been expanding its land position quite aggressively. To our east, we have Nevada Copper, which commenced underground production at Pumpkin Hollow in late 2019, and then us in the center working on the Macarthur oxide deposit pre-feasibility study. There are opportunities emerging for Quaterra in the district in terms of cooperation and consolidation, and I would just point out that the district has over 17 billion pounds of copper in the measured and indicated resource categories held between the three companies. So what's the overall opportunity for Quaterra to create value in Yerington? Well, starting on what I call our value wheel, at 1 o'clock, we are central. We have a central position in the district. We have an excellent location for plant equipment or stockpiles. We have open pittable resources at Macarthur and Yerington. We have potential for discovery at the Bear Porphyry system and underneath the Macarthur oxides. We have water rights permitted for mining valued at about $20 million. And we have decreased environmental risk and increased permitting certainty in terms of agreement with Atlantic Richfield. So I turn briefly to look at Macarthur. Macarthur is an oxide deposit in the north of our land position. It is a large-scale, low-cost acid leach project with potential for near-term production. We completed a PEA in 2012, revised in 2014, that showed 248 million pounds of copper over life of mine with a capex of $232 million and a 2.7-year payback. We have recently commenced a pre-feasibility study. We're updating the resource model. We're looking at higher potential copper grades up front. We're looking for improved metallurgical recoveries using a base case of $3 a pound. We think we have a better geological model, and we're optimizing the mine plan. We're targeting completion of this pre-feasibility study within 18 months, depending on the availability of funds. Now, just quickly like to switch focus to the Groundhog project in southwest Alaska, a much earlier stage copper gold prospect on a 54,800 acre property north of the Pebble deposit. Unlike Yerington, our work at Groundhog is focused on discovery. Groundhog is a standalone project that differs from some other Alaskan projects facing public opposition. Groundhog undoubtedly has large scale and is in the right address, especially in terms of its regional and local geological potential. It's immediately north of the Pebble project, one of the largest undeveloped copper gold porphyry systems in the world. Its geophysical and geochemical data suggest Pebble style mineralization may extend onto the Groundhog property. It's a large position and it's on state of Alaska claims. We do believe at this project that true business value is gained from Indigenous participation that goes beyond mere stakeholder input and establishes a meaningful equity partnerships for local communities. So looking at our Alaskan partners, we have a staged earn-in agreement with Tchutchuna Minerals to purchase 90%, with Tchutchuna retaining 10% carry to production. Tchutchuna is locally owned by the Kijik Village Corporation and Alaska Earth Sciences. Both have been business in Alaska for over 40 years and have deep community roots and political legitimacy. Tchutchuna is the project operator. To earn our 90%, we have to spend $5 million over 6 years, starting in 2017. We've already funded a half of that, and then a lump sum payment of $3 million at the end of the process. Now, let's just take a quick walk through the technical aspects of the project that excite us. It starts with the observation that some copper porphyry cluster along trends. This slide compares the Pebble trend with Oyo Tolgoi, Chichikamata, and Andino Lostufatus trends. It is worth noting that the different deposits on the slide are shown at the same scale. You can see that some of these things are like beads on a string. The Pebble trend is wide open to the north, where we have our Groundhog land position. We think that on a regional scale, we are in the right place and there's strong possibility of multiple deposits. Regional magnetics support the concept that we may have a large linear cluster of deep-seated Cretaceous intrusives that underlie not only the Pebble deposit, but also our Groundhog deposit to the north. The regional magnetics support the concept that the same rocks at Pebble extend to the north onto our Groundhog property. We were lucky enough going into this project to have access to high-resolution magnetics flown by Kennecott in 2010. The high-resolution magnetics identified 3 strong magnetic anomalies named alpha, beta, and gamma. Limited geological reconnaissance over the alpha and beta anomalies has found scattered areas of chalcopyrite along fractures. We have also got individual samples of up to 0.18% copper over the alpha and 0.5% over the beta, which just reinforces the theory that these intrusives are coming up from the underlying Castaneck batholith. What we can take away from this slide is that there's a large IP anomaly to the south at Pebble. We have got strong IP anomalies to the north on our ground on the map there. Our IP lines are much wider spaced, and there are fewer of them than at Pebble. You can see from our IP lines on our land block where there were 4 holes that we drilled. Our holes 1 and 4 hit younger tertiary volcanics. However, holes 2 and 3 hit Pebble age rocks. Hole 3 hit anomalous copper down its entire length to 358 meters. I want to point out that the northwest end of IP line 6 on the map there, where hole 3 was drilled, and northwest end of line 5, where hole 1 was drilled, are 4 kilometers apart. You could fit the entire Pebble deposit just between these 2 lines. On the left of this slide is hole 3, which hit 200 to 600 ppm copper down its entire length. It has scattered gold anomalies, one sample showing 0.8 of a gram. It also has a few scattered moly anomalies. This is what we could call an indicative hole, meaning we believe it is either above or adjacent to copper mineralization, and it is going to be one of our main targets when we go back and resume exploration. In May this year, we released an independent 43101 technical report on Groundhog. It supports our assessment that Groundhog is a possible copper-gold porphyry system that could host mineralization similar to Pebble. The rocks at Groundhog are correlative to the rocks hosting the mineralization of Pebble. Much of the property remains untested. We've got IP anomalies that have not been evaluated. We believe that exploration efforts should be focused on the alpha and beta anomalies, where we have the geochemistry, stratigraphy, and IP that supports the potential of a porphyry deposit. We are now making preparations for drilling in 2021, pending, of course, funding. We're currently working on an inversion model exercise on the Z-TEM survey flown last year, which will help us rank the targets for drilling. We're also going to do independent IP to fill in the huge area between lines 5 and 6, that 4 kilometer gap on the map. We are going to want to drill 3 or 4 holes to test the best targets we have on the both alpha and beta anomalies. In closing, I will say that this is what excites us. We know that at Groundhog we have similar geology, we have similar intrusive rocks with a similar age to Pebble. This conclusion is supported both by geology and magnetics. We have strong IP and we have an indicative hole that was drilled in very short 1,200 meter program we conducted in 2017. All this points to us having a decent chance of making a discovery at Groundhog over the next year. Thank you.